this is reminiscent of my traveling the Appalachian Trail. When I was a young single man, I would spend weekends up in the mountains of North Georgia, the Blue Ridge Mountains. Oftentimes find myself a waterfall with the water cascading over the water, a clear blue pool, and dipping my toes into that ice water and just feeling the presence of God. And it was that to me, I want that to come through me, and it does in various water. It has a very powerful sense in my life. The idea of living waters, the idea of refreshing, cleansing, and so you'll see that theme in a lot of my landscapes as well. You see a lot of my cascading waterfalls and so forth. And I've noticed that in yours as well. So, we have that recurrent theme that is so symbolic and meaningful. So the stories, I don't necessarily want to tell everybody the story because I want to hear what they see in it, what it speaks to them, and I appreciate what you just said about how this speaks to you, because if you tell them, then you're guiding them into what, and I want it to be able to draw out, evoke some sort of emotional response. And I think that's where the people that have purchased my work through you guys have been people that connected with a particular piece. I know that Mike said, the other day someone came in and said, that one, I want that one, right? Immediately a response that, got to have that. That thrills me as an artist. And I'm sure it does you too. When someone connects with your art that way and says, I've got to have that.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I believe that art should speak to people, which is exactly what you're talking about. It speaks to people. It tells a story. And sometimes that story will relate to them, and they need it deep in their heart, deep in their soul for some reason. We may not know why, but it's there. And then that artwork can plant seeds for people. It plants seeds of hope or comfort or closeness. And planting seeds forward and speaking that into people's lives is also a lot of what you do when you do your portraiture art, because you're making it very personal. So there's a sentimental piece to that for whomever you're doing that for.
Yeah, portraiture is something that a lot of people don't realize that I do, but because of my ability to capture something in a representational, realistic fashion, it was kind of a no-brainer that I would also do portraits, commissioned portraits. But that's a long classic tradition of people long before photography came into existence, that they were capturing people's image and essence on canvas. And
catching moments.
Catching
moments.
Exactly. And to pass that on from a generation to a generation. So that there are many reasons that someone might purchase a custom portraiture, not of someone who already has passed away, but remembering a great-grandfather, for example, or a founder of a church or an institution or something like that. But we want to honor them, to be able to capture them, have a legacy of that. I know of a couple that had passed away, but they left their inheritance to an orphanage. And the orphanage wanted to honor them by having a painting of them, in their orphanage to thank them. Well, they weren't around, but a new generation was going to see their legacy because of that and recognize their contribution. And, those things, they make me happy. That I enjoy being able to do that, to please someone else, to also feel like I've contributed somehow to that ultimate social good that makes me happy. Mm-hmm. So yes, portraiture is an area that I have evolved into a little bit reluctantly, I think, because as I mentioned earlier, I'm trying to get into a little more abstraction, I guess, a little more the emotional. And oftentimes when you do the portrait, people want the likeness. They don't want any emotion in there. I want this to look like this, or they want to look more glamorous, or whatever it might be.
Oh yes, make me look good.
Yeah, so, that's a little less perhaps enjoyable for me. But at the same time, the end result is the same. It makes people happy. It's something I can do well. It's something that other people enjoy. And so I've done a good bit of it through the years. And, I don't know, maybe in the past 5 years I've done, 30 or 40 portraits. And some of those are pretty large, 30 by 40, 36 by 48, 3 feet by 4 feet. Those are large portraits. And I've done portraits of whole families, not just one person, sometimes 6 or 7 people. Mm-hmm. And, so... And
you love a challenge, don't you?
Yeah, I will. And oftentimes you have to bring in a different context or use different... I use photographic reference. So sometimes I have to use different quality photographs. This one was taken in daylight. This one was taken at night with a flash. And I have to make them look like they were the same. So one of the things I learned in my commercial work was working with clients, I collaborated. So I would send sketches, kind of work back and forth. So a lot of artists have difficulty doing that. They don't enjoy doing that. To me, that's it's just part of the course. So when I am commissioned for a portrait, I always get pre-approval on submitting sketches. Yeah, can you take the glasses off? Can you do this? Can you do that? And I kind of work from there and make sure that the class. So in that, I guarantee satisfaction. So I always work until the client is satisfied. And that's, so I don't have any clients that aren't fully satisfied. In fact, I have a lot of clients that have actually come back and get multiple portraits from.
And that speaks for itself.
Yeah.
You're fulfilling a purpose. There's a lot of purpose in that. And when I look at those that I've seen on your website and that I know we have some pamphlets here in the gallery, you can see that purpose in your work. It's a gift. It's not something that I don't think everyone could do what you do. I truly believe it's a gift, a God-given gift. And I would tell everyone else too to check that out. I'm sure a lot of it's on your website. Last I checked, it was.
Yep.
And your website is
StephenLesterArtStudio.com.
StephenLesterArtStudio.com. And if anyone ever comes into the gallery and has questions, we'll definitely put you into contact with Stephen, and we'll help you collaborate that. We can help with photos. I've mentioned on earlier videos that we have a professional photographer here that I plan to exploit as much as she will let me. So a big part of our purpose is to collaborate and bring people together and bring connection as well, because art should absolutely speak and plant seeds, and that's what we are here for. But before we started, we were chatting a little bit, and you mentioned, if we were to do a painting of me and my dad, we may actually do that one day, because a big part of why we are here is because he was an artist, and there was a calling on his life, and I hope that's been handed down to me, and I'm trying to honor that as well, and trying to pick up that baton for him. So we are very blessed that we have you.
Well, thank you.
And we have learned a lot. And my plan going forward is to just continue growing, grow together, see what God has in store for us. One of the things we've also kind of had in the works, and it's interesting because everything starts in my head as an idea, and it kind of bounces around in there for a while. There was a lot of kind of in the works for a way to honor our artists, not only our resident artists here at the gallery, but other artists that we can collaborate with as we kind of build our exposure and build exposure for our artists. And this was even before I went to New York for the award ceremony I just attended. And some of the ideas I had was around a way to honor, was to have our own award ceremony. So I want you to know that you're definitely going to be honored in that.
Nice.
We are planning on doing that September 9th, so I hope that works. Some of the details we're definitely still working out. You're definitely going to be honored that night.
How cool is that?
Yes, we are very excited, very excited. So we're calling it our first annual VIA award ceremony, and each year the ceremony will have a different theme. So this year's theme is Top of the Mountain, because sometimes climbing these mountains can be hard, and I want to honor people in their achievements and their skills and how they are planting seeds and bringing purpose to other people's lives. So VIA is very influential artists. So this year will be the VIA award for Top of the Mountain. And so there'll be more details to come. We're getting ready to it's no longer a secret. We're getting ready to
everybody's going to know
publicize that. That's right. This is the launch of it. Yay! But we definitely want to honor you that evening as well.
Terrific.
So,
terrific. Thank you so much. And what a joy it's been to work with you guys. And the interesting thing on that is, I don't know if everybody knows your background, but you're also not only a counselor, but what you brought into this picture. Remember we talked before you actually opened the gallery, and we were talking to you about this, and you told me about your father and his influence on your life. But you also, now I'm interviewing you, right? So you also talked about how that you wanted, what art meant to you, and what you wanted to do, and how you wanted to let that be a therapeutic thing in other people's lives, whereby they would be blessed and enjoy that calmness, that peace, and in an otherwise chaotic world. Mm-hmm. This is a little sanctuary. You have to come in and see beautiful pieces to enjoy that blessing, and that's something that you guys bring. And so I like working with you guys. I think that's a terrific partnership, and it's been great for me. So thank you, and thank you for this opportunity.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And there are more good things to come. I just speak that in faith. Lots and lots of good things to come.